Good morning, class. In the previous lecture, we started about the generations of computers. We got to know about how instructions are given, and I slightly gave you a preview of this, how we used to have those single instructions of one time, and then we moved on to batch instructions. When we talk about languages that we use in computers today, we're going to understand what are the languages through which we interact with this system, we interact with the computers. So to start with, when we say we used to have the single instruction per time, every time we used to use the processor, we used to have this one instruction that used to get executed, and the result was displayed. So when we talk about computer languages that are used nowadays, that the computer languages that we work on nowadays, we have a huge number of instructions executing per second, and that totally depends on how fast is your RAM, and that will get along with this thing in the later lectures. But right now we need to understand, when we talk about computer languages, we have two main category of languages that we have. There is one that is low level language, and other one is high level language. Okay, so firstly we need to know that what is a language. Okay, so to start with, when we talk about a simple language, a language is the way in which we interact. Being humans, we interact in many languages. Everybody has their mother tongue. Every human has their own way of explaining. Languages are one this is one way of saying that we speak up, and we call that a language. Okay, but another way of of communicating is through gestures. Another way of communicating is through emotions, through gestures, through face expressions. These are all different types of ways in which, or the languages in which we can communicate. Okay, so the way of communication is basically known as languages. When we say a human language, commonly used to express the feelings, and it is used for the purpose of interacting. When we talk about computer languages, a computer language is the language by which the user commands the computer to work, or commands the computer to to execute something, to work on the algorithm which a user has written to get the output. Okay, to interact with the computer, we need to have two types of things that we have to provide to get the desired output. We have to provide the computer with the data on which the user wants the execution or the processing, and the second thing that we need to give the computer is the instruction set. Okay, and that set of instructions is given in the languages through which we interact with system. So we create the algorithm is basically a raw form of a program or a set of instructions that we write it. The algorithm is the raw form that is understandable and very much easily understandable by the user, by the humans, and then we convert that algorithm into any of the languages. It could be a low level language, it could be a high level language, any type of language that a computer understand. We translate it to the computer understandable language, and then we execute it using the processor. Okay, so for a computer to understand something, we need to write the set of instruction in either of these two types of languages, that is low level languages and high level languages. Okay, when we talk about a lower level language or low level language, it is a programming language in which the programming is done. It provides little or no abstraction for the computer instruction set architecture. We actually, in when we talk about low level language instruction set, it is very much close to what computer can understand, and it has very much less abstraction. When we talk about abstraction is basically something in which we only know how things are being done, how the organization is being done, but we do not know the architecture. Okay, but in low level languages, what we have zero or no level of abstraction. It is completely architectural. It tells you how the instructions are executed, and the instruction set is written in the form in which computer can directly easily understand. Okay, So again, by when we say we talk about lower level languages, these are computer understandable languages and are very difficult for human to understand. Okay, so the level languages were used basically in two generations. In earlier two generations that we had this first generation, second generation. In these two generations only, the lower level language or low level language was used. Okay, and what we used to have in first generation languages, that is 1GL, this is low level language we're talking about. So represent the very early or primitive computer languages. By primitive, we mean that the one that was used years and years ago when the computer was in early stage of development. Okay, so it represent very early and primitive computer languages that consisted of entirely zeros and ones. Okay, so to understand this thing, we need to know that the low level languages are basically written in the form of zeros and ones. Only binary language is the one that can be understood by the computer. So when we say the primitive or computer languages, they had the zeros and one entirely, and it didn't have any other word, any other alphabet, any other number. Okay, so the actual language that a computer understand is known as the first generation language, low level language, machine language, right? All these are the names that are interchangeably used for low level language. Okay, then came the second generation languages. Second generation languages, these represent the step up from the first generation languages and allow the use of symbolic names instead of just numbers. Okay, just zero and ones, other than zeros and one, it used to have some symbolic names. And the second generation languages are known as assembly languages, or code written in the assembly languages is converted into a machine language. Okay, so in second GL also we needed some sort of translations to translate it to the first generation language. Okay, so in this second generation language, we used to have these assemblers that we used to convert the assembly languages to the low level, or the the first generation language. And when we say we had these generations in second generation, in which we used to have this pseudo code was there, in which we used to have some alphabets included. Say when suppose I want to say read, READ, then we used to have some RD, or any of the codes that could be slightly understood by the human but mainly understood by the machine. But anyhow, we needed a conversion for this also, because computer can only understand zeros and ones. Okay, so these are some of the characteristics that are there for low level languages. First is direct memory management. Another one is a little to no abstraction to the from the hardware. Then we have this register access, that they have the direct register access. Then the statements usually have the obvious correspondence with the clock cycles and the super performance. What do we understand by all these characteristics that we had for low level languages? First is the direct memory access, because it is low level language, because it is in the form of zeros and ones, and computer can easily understand it. Though it had the direct memory access, memory management, it was no level of abstraction is there. The hardware is completely clear to the user. And then we have this register access, because of the again because it is very much close to what physically a computer we would do to access. So it has direct access to the registers, and the statements usually has the obvious correspondence to the clock cycle, because it used to have super performance. Why? Because it was in the physical language, and only though there was no need of any kind of conversions throughout. Okay, so when we do not need any sort of conversions, so it is very much faster. The speed is very high because we don't need any conversions. We can directly the language, the content, the program that we have written in low level language can directly have the interaction with the hardware. Okay, so these are some of the characteristics of low level language, and these are some of the advantages and disadvantages. First is computational speed is very high. Again, the speed is very high only because it doesn't require any kind of changing or any kind of translations for the computer, and then it is directly understandable by the computer. Okay, and some of the disadvantages is to find an error in a low-level language program or machine language program is a very tedious task. It is very difficult to find an error, and the most important thing, it is very difficult to even program something in machine language because it is not very human interactive or human understandable. So it is very difficult to develop a program in a machine language, and that takes too much time. Execution is faster, but the making of that program becomes very much tedious and it is time consuming. Okay, so moving on to the high level language programming, the high level programming languages allowed specification of the problem solution in terms of closer to those that humans can understand, and these languages were designed to make programming far easier and less error prone because it is human understandable. It is very fast and easy to find any error if some has occurred. So and it to remove the programmer from having a non details of the internal structures of the particular computer. Even if you do not know about the internal details of the computer, it is very easy to work on a computer because we know the language in which we are interacting with the system, right? Sorry. This language is used in the third generation and third generation and later generations after the third generation. So we used to have this high level language. Then we have this third generation languages. Third generation languages were the ones in which they were introduced in third generation of computers, and the words and commands instead of symbols were used. Okay, so these language therefore had the syntax, okay, and which was very much more easier to understand. And the third generation languages are known as high level languages and included C, C++, Java, JavaScript, along with other third generation languages or other high level languages. Okay, so types of high level languages that we have, this is the example, and we have many more languages that we use nowadays other than C++, Visual Basics, Java, JavaScript, Python. There are many more languages that are being developed throughout the years, like .NET and many more that are being used in the high level languages only. So what was a C++ language? We can call this language as a middle level language as compared to when we talk about high level languages are those that are even more human friendly, even more user friendly than middle level language like C++. It had many features that actually that works as a building block for all those high level languages that are being used nowadays. This has a combination. C++ has a combination of both high level languages and the low level languages features. Like C++ supports abstraction because that is a high level language feature. It has operator overloading, and polymorphism has been encouraged, and templates are there, object based languages there. Then we have this inheritance, encapsulation, polymorphism. We're going to discuss these things. I'm just going to give you an idea of what we understand by object based learning. Object oriented learning is basically a type of learning in which we have these objects as the main focus, and not the functions. Functions are built according to the objects and not the otherwise. So, and the polymorphism basically means when we have same name of some function, and that function or that operator is being overloaded, and many tasks are being performed by one operator or one function. Okay, another one is inheritance. Inheritance is the one in which we have multiple functions have been built, and inheritance was basically included with the help of classes, and that we can get along in the later part. Then we have this encapsulation in which we actually keep our data and the function that we're going to perform on the data collective in an encapsulated manner that is wrapped up together. Okay, so these are certain some of the functions, some of the features of high level language or a middle level language like C++. So when we compare the middle level language to a high level language, we have much more additional features in the high level language as compared to the middle level language. So Visual Basic is one of the example of languages that we used in third generation. It was an event driven programming language, and it integrated development environments that IDE was involved and from Microsoft, and for the COM programming model was used, and Visual Basic is basically relative to easy to learn and use. Okay, so it is comparatively very much easier as compared to other programming language where we used multiple complex programming models as compared to Visual Basics. And then these are the characteristics of Visual Basic. This is interpreted. The dynamic constructs are there. Open classes, message, style methods, etc. Then it had a poor performance and consists of code and flexible syntax, and these are some of the advantages and disadvantages of high level languages. The advantages is these are simple to adopt due to the English language, and language structure is very much easily understandable for the humans, and they are easy to maintain and debug. Again, these two are the most important advantages of high level language, of using a high level language. Then we have these disadvantages that are there. The programs written in high level language are less efficient, and they need more execution time, again because of the same reason. We need more execution time because all those codes, all those instructions that are written in high level language have to be translated into the lower level language so that a computer can understand, and those translations take time for execution. Okay, and we need to have some of the devices that we actually need for the translation purposes. Compiler is one of the examples for those devices. Interpreter is one of the example. So compiler and interpreter were used for the translation purposes, and these compilers and interpreters are basically, they need time for the translation, and that is why the time that was required for the processing of these instructions is quite high as compared to what we used to do in the low level languages. So this is all about the languages that we have for computers. If you want to have if you need any kind of if you have some doubts, you can come to me anytime. Thanks for watching.